Because remember, even us when we were growing up, we knew teachers in our village and the pastor. That's where you could get all the answers. I mean, even if I wanted to know whatever to become as a young boy, when the teacher says, I think you can become this, you end up pursuing that because they are an authority. The people in this hall are an authority. So as you preach the gospel, we pray that God will also give us capacity to also talk to people about the real things that will enhance their productivity and their capacity. That's my take. Victor from Mozambique, thank you very much for the compliments about the place I represent. And you asked a very profound thing. I mean, how did you beat the system? The systems are always corrupt in our continent. It is actually the other way around. And I have learned it, and I'm saying this with a lot of humility and respect. But I've learned one thing for the last 4 years here in Kenya. That when there is decay in a nation or decay in leadership, it doesn't start from bottom. It starts from the top. When you are an MP in a place like ours, we have staff, we have people who look after CDF. People are very, very, very sensitive to what you do. That whatever you say means nothing. People don't care about the many speeches you give, hey, integrity, I don't know, don't do this. They follow what you're doing. So in our place, it was obvious and direct from my first term. You eat CDF, you get eaten by it. In terms of you no longer have a job, because I didn't have an obligation to my staff. My obligation was to the people who I lead. So once you distinguish that, you are able to see the people you work with as colleagues. Yes, they become friends at some point, but the bigger friendship you have is from the people who gave you mandate. So from there, when people know you can't steal money here and survive, only the very brave ones will eat. But they also know their accounting days. So that has to happen. And I also come to appreciate one thing. I'm not just talking to you here as a leader. I'm also talking to you as a human being. I have seen that when you do the right thing, in many instances, when you see this money here that belongs to the public and you bypass it and you don't steal it, somehow you invest your little money somewhere, it multiplies by many multiples. And I don't think that those are coincidences, because they have happened to me. I can tell you this, the entire CDF, if my work was to steal it, I would not have made more money stealing CDF than I have made from not stealing. Are you getting that paradox? It is an oxymoron or a paradox that when you don't steal, your own money somehow finds a way of multiplying when you don't have a guilt conscience inside of you about it. Let no one cheat you in Africa that, oh, you know, we have a good leader. It's only the people below him who are bad. That is propaganda from corrupt leaders. There is no such a story. Oh, you know, I'm from this country. And I'm not I'm mentioning the country not to. Let's say I'm from South Sudan. Oh, you know, our president is very good. We blame the people below him. Okay, keep blaming them. There's nothing like that. I have told you about General Park of South Korea, Deng Xiaoping of China. I don't even know who was their finance minister. I don't even know who was their energy minister. I don't even know who was their vice president. I know the president. I know the leader. I know the head. All these other stories you hear about blames of the people below them, it is running away from responsibility. So how we broke that barrier was simple. You are in church. You are in school. You are reading a school, public school, because you are also part of the community. And you are the chair of the board. And there is a classroom being built. I'm talking to you. But then, $1,000 cannot be accounted for. $1,000. But you are leading a committee of 10. So you are the 10, there are 9 more. They realize, it is the chairman who was actually bringing SAD in this project. So all the profit of the SAD, he is the one who benefited from it. You don't need to say a word from there. You've already communicated abundantly to the other 9 on what they need to do next. The next time you are building a classroom, it will never be completed. Because you've spoken loudly, you don't need to say a word. You've spoken through actions. That is the way it is in our continent. When you are there as a person following a leader, you realize, they're hiding their money in Dubai. They're also buying some houses in London. And you are the one behind them. Then you realize, so our country can be bad at some point. That's why he's also investing elsewhere. So what do? You take cue. You don't even listen to what he's saying. You follow what he's doing. Then from there, there'll be no more money to serve the people. There'll be none. A light from the CAR. You're a student from university. Which course? Business law. Hey, that's business law. The law part is what Patrice Motsepe did. He's the richest man in South Africa today. But he practiced business. So you have no other reason other to be a billionaire. You have no reason. And of all the people in this hall, age is more on your side than all of us. So you can actually write anything you want to become, and you'll become. Not many people here have that privilege. Maybe their children can do that. So we wish you all the best. So what you need to do, and the people on behalf of all the younger people. Number one, you look at where is the world going. That's the number one thing. Because I got the question. I'm talking about passive investments. But what do you invest? You need to actively make money first. And I agree. So, 2 things. First of all, look at where is the world going. Where is the world going? As you preach to the young people in our countries, know where the world is going. There is a course you are telling that young man to take in the university, and you are wasting their time. Because the world currently, if you are not talking about technology, you are talking about finance. If you are not talking about anything technology, agriculture can have embedded technology. Technology cuts across. So technology is not just a computer and a robot and AI. No. Technology is about efficiency. Talk to those young people, first of all, to think towards technology. There's no way you'll go wrong within that sphere. That's where productivity is highest. You are likely to gain more money there. Because you're not going to school because you want to be an NGO later. You are going there to make more money. So look at the sectors you are likely to make more money. Tech, the course you are doing is very good because it's so versatile. Business law, you can be business in oil and gas. You can be a lawyer in oil and gas, in minerals, in banking, in basically everything. Right? Maybe I'm talking to a future dollar billionaire. Don't give us any other reason other than to accomplish that. You are doing one of the best courses. Now what you need to do is to embed some level of passion around specific areas. Look at your country, or Africa, or the world. Where are you likely to practice this business law best and to gain more money? start pursuing there specifically and read a lot in terms of beyond curriculum. There's something I used to do when I was in campus. So in our gate at the Kenyatta University, somebody used to sell newspapers and these international magazines, Forbes, Economist, Fortune. And these international magazines, you bite them with a piece of paper so that people only read when they buy. So I used to go and rent it. I give him something, I go read but neatly, in a manner that even when you buy, you will not know somebody read. So I used to read, then I return to him. You are pastors, you'll tell me whether that was wrong. But that's what I used to do. Because my argument is, even when I read, the words were not getting wrapped. So even the person who bought could still read. So I used to pay some rent, read a lot. Forbes. Like, because I was in university during the 2007-2008 financial crisis in the US, I knew everything about that like I was being examined for it. Because I could read all those magazines and I started enjoying economics and financial markets there. Start developing that passion and doing something about fertilizing it, giving it fertilizer. So where do you invest this passive money? Where do I get it from? So my first question is, where can you get this active money more faster so that you invest it passively? So for me, I realized the active money I needed could be more in business than in being employed. So remember, I never said making money actively is wrong. I said, even after making that active money, what I also later came to make passively became more than all the money I had made through labor. Can you imagine that? And I'm not talking about big things at the AI here in our own stock market here in Kenya. And that's why Irene is talking about it. I've been very forthright in sharing information about even the decisions I take, because I do a lot of research on the decisions I end up making in the NSC. So after you make money, which cannot be from your parents, you likely be out of business. So that is the money you go and invest in the passive investments. But this active money, where can you make it more? In my tech, you are likely to make it more in business. Patrice Motsepe was a lawyer like you. What did he do? He started buying mines which other big companies were deeming as non-profitable. He started buying them. Founded ARM, Africa Rainbow Minerals, became a big company. Then out of that, the money he got from there started investing in other sectors. Banking being one of them, and financial sector like insurance. Now, Dora billionaire. Yes, he's President Ramaphosa's brother-in-law, but Ramaphosa became president when Ramaphosa was already a billionaire. So business. My brother from South Sudan. I actually had one of my classmates from University of Nairobi, was a gentleman who works in your finance ministry in South Sudan. And it's one of the countries I feel they deserve more than they are getting. You have so much wealth to go through the kind of hardships the citizens go through. And I'm not accusing anyone, that's the reality. I wish better decisions could be made for South Sudan. Greed. You asked two things. Greed, how do you tame greed as a leader? Second, how do you end up getting elected? In Africa, we know people get bribes to elect people. In my second term as MP for the place I represent, Kiharu, I never put up one poster saying I want to vie. I didn't put up even one poster. The people told me, you'll make us agree if you put up a poster saying you want to run. We want to elect you without even a poster. That's what they did. Have you gotten? And it's not hurabalu or hubris. One person sent me a text, told me, our MP, we know you want to vie again. You'll have done a great mistake if you hang in a poster here in Keharu. That man told me that. I never had his number, so I called him. I thought maybe he's working for opponents. Then I asked him, what are you telling me? He told me, I'm telling you, if you put up a poster, you will be very angry. Why are you putting that poster? So you think you don't know the work you've done? Don't put up any poster. I never put. So how do you tame greed? Greed, like all the other things we deal with as a human being, they are corrosive emotions that we have to deal with as human beings. Because we are inherently greedy. Because we are inherently self-seeking. We are inherently inward-looking. That's why when you get a job position, you'd rather call your brother. Because our decisions are based on two things. As leadership, that's why we keep on mediocrity like a circle. Decisions here in Africa, even who to give a job, who to give what. That's why you see in one country, the president is the father, minister is the mother, this is the son. That is something called kin selection. That is the daughter. I saw an appointment somewhere on social media. Let me not go there, because I need my brother to go back in peace. So, you have to tame this greed. Why? Me, after reading the Forbes list, I've never seen somebody listed there and their source of money is greed. And because I want to get wealthy, one of the ways to get wealthy is not to be greedy. It is to be creative. So I don't know whether I am saying anything. The work you do to steal, if you put in that money to make money, if you put up that mind and brain to make money, you'll make more money than the one you are stealing. Stealing involves a lot of things. It involves a lot of covering, a lot of conniving, all that work and energy. If you actually put it into the right business, you'll make more money there. But then the real issue about Africa and greed of leaders. Tell me here from this room. Have you ever heard of somebody called Martin Luther King Jr.? How did he die? He was shot. What car was he driving when he was shot? Does anyone of you know here? How many rooms was his house when he was being shot, Martin Luther King Jr.? Anyone who has an idea? How many cars did he have? Martin Luther King Jr. But you told me you know him. How do you know him and you don't even know the kind of car he was driving? Do you even know? No. Abraham Lincoln is a celebrated US president. Abraham Lincoln. What car was he driving? Which house was he living in? How much was his net worth? Okay. Mahatma Gandhi. You must have heard about Mahatma Gandhi from India. How much was his net worth? Which estate was he living in? Which car was he driving? No one cares. We don't care. We don't want to know even. Julius Nyerere. But we remember these people. But how comes you don't even care the vehicles they were driving, how many houses they had? I'm not deviating from the fact that you have to look for money. I'm saying that don't look for money at all costs. Look, it's sweeter to have your money, which you don't have to keep on looking who is following you. You are even able how you made it. You are not even proud of it. You can't even tell anyone how you made it. So greed it doesn't pay. Irene, is the last question. Stocks, etc. Me, I propagate one thing called value investments. Value investments is when you don't invest because somebody told you in a congregation that, oh, there is a place we are taking money, then it multiplies in a month. That's your decision to make. Me, I don't do those things. I invest in the stock market. Why? Because I'm buying a company. Let me start here. Where do we put our money as Africans? One, buying land. Here, there is no one who has not bought land. Even by the way you are looking at me, you have bought many pieces of land. Because you are told you are not a man enough if you don't have many pieces of land. How comes Elon Musk and all these other characters, how comes they don't care about land? Because land should only count as a factor of production. So what are you doing with it? Nothing, just to speculate. For how long can you speculate for land here in Kenya? When cities are the ones expanding, it's not the prices of land that is going up. It is the price that is going. So you are likely to buy a piece of land today, you'll still sell it the same price the next 10 years. Why? Because that era when people could make multiples in land, a city like Gaborone, Nairobi was the same way we know it. But now it keeps on expanding. People are buying land, transferring agricultural land into residential, so the city keeps on expanding. So the law of demand and supply is no longer favorable to the person who is holding the asset, because the supply is too high. When supply is too high and the demand is the same, the price gets saturated, it goes down. So which are the other investments where we put money? We buy treasury boats, we fix money in bank accounts, we buy things called MMFs, unit trusts, we buy shares. So those are the other places we put money. The reason I don't buy boats and all those, fixing money in the bank and buying a treasury boat, it is the same thing. You are lending money. It's your money you are lending. Boats you lend to the government. Boats. Any boat you have, treasury boat, bill, you are lending to the government to pay you after every 6 months, but an interest that is already predetermined. So you've already agreed with them. You give them 1 million in whichever currency, then I am paying you 10% per annum, but I'll be paying you after every 6 months, so 5%, 5%. So by the time you are getting into that transaction, you are aware of your gain, which is 10%. But you are also aware of one thing. Your 1 million is not growing. It is static. You can do nothing about it. So you have actually hidden your money in the mattress or under the sand, because there is no growth. Fixing money in the bank is also lending. You are lending to the bank. That's why you see in the banks, when they are reporting their financial statements, deposits are liabilities. Because they have taken money from you to lend. So it is you who have lent the bank money for the bank to then lend to somebody else. So your deposit in the bank, they count it as a liability. But your own, they count it as an asset. Because they have lent you money. So that's an asset to them. So all those are forms of lending. Higher. So investing in shares. When I'm investing, let's say in Kenya Power's company, I'm investing in something that has room for growth. Because maybe it has connected 1 million people to electricity. But the population is growing. So they could connect 200,000 more. So I have actually bought a tree that is growing and can bear more fruits next season than this season. There is that probability. So I ride on that probability. The other one, I'm assured. The 1 million I put up there cannot grow. It cannot grow. After 10 years, I'll get back the same exact money. But on this other one, when I invest in Equity Bank, when it is a small bank here in Kenya, when it goes to DRC and invests there and it becomes the largest bank, My one share which I bought when it had not gone to DRC, that one share is in DRC also, fetching money for me. It's fetching money for me. Because when I bought, it was just in Kenya. So if it had 1 million shares, not that when it went to Tanzania, it created more shares. No. The same share I had becomes a hunting dog for me. It goes to Tanzania, hunts profits, brings to me. It goes to DRC, hunts money, brings to me. If I cannot use my mind to think for myself in that manner, when did I go to school? Why did I go to school? So, when you invest in a company, that's my fundamental reasoning. I am investing in something that has life. So the second thing now you come is Irene questions. But people bought Mumia Sugar, they collapsed, and Ever Ready. That's fine. But those are them. So, what more pleasant than to learn from other people's experiences without you having to burn your figures? The fact that there has been crashes in the US stock market doesn't take away from the fact that all billionaires have made money from the stock market in the US. Yet it has had crashes. After every 7 years, there is a reset. But how comes all the richest people, all their money is in New York Stock Exchange and the other stock markets? How comes? It's because even if there are some upheavals, generally the stock markets, they go up generally. They may be upheavals. Some may be thrown away because they are too weak. But the general trend is upwards. So what you do, don't sleep, then tomorrow call your stockbroker. Buy me this share, I think it's good. It's not an issue of what you feel. Do some analysis about the actual company. Do some basic analysis about your economy, about the sectors in your economy. Then in those sectors, look for which are the best performing companies in those sectors. So first of all, I look at globally. How is the global market doing? Like this issue of Iran. There is this day, Trump said he's going to obliterate the entire Iran. Me, I didn't sleep. I was waiting to see what he's going to do. Not because I was too concerned about what he's going to do, but because it will have shaped a lot of my decision making. So, global markets, what are they doing? How is the global economy performing? How are interest rates globally doing? With this issue of fuel, how are interest rates? How is the Federal Reserve likely to do in the federal rate? To raise, to sustain, to lower? See, me, I already think what they are going to do. Even when they sustained, I knew they would sustain, but with a view of increasing later. Because of the inflation that will come from increment in oil prices. So my decision making from investing started there. So this issue of fuel and investing, for example, what I'm going to do up to August in the financial market, I know already. Because I know for sure what will happen. Inflation will bite the world. World will start raising interest rates. Kenya will start raising interest rate. I start making my decisions from there. So, it's not rocket science. The people in this hall, all of you have capacity to analyze your economy in one afternoon and know where to start putting your money. Then when you go to sectors, let's say we are in banking sector in Kenya, look at the most undervalued ones, using public information. Public information. What's the P ratio of this bank? What is the P ratio is usually one of the easiest ways, and you can just Google. AI can give you without you calculating. P ratio, you look at price to book value. If it's a bank, you start making the decision from there. Do they pay dividends? For how long have they been paying dividends? Are they expanding? Which markets are they eyeing? From there, I make my decision and I keep silent. And I wait. There is a time for the benefit of those people. Why are you live? Cut it. We are talking here things that should not be broadcasted.